Ace deuce in late position again, just under 19 bigs. Same spot really to the ace six hand that we had earlier on the button. Uh, I think this is a shove. I do shove here. Again, unexploitable. You've got three people to be behind you. You've got an ace here. Um, so I do go ahead and shove. We get called by our nemesis, who's been raising our blind a lot. He decides to look us up pretty light. King Queen must have thought we were shoving a lot worse than what he had, and we do hold. So much needed double up there, up to 3,800, 38 big blinds. Much needed at this stage in the tournament. So we can open up a bit more now. We're not so restricted in our play. So let's see if we can try and build a stack now. So it looks like we got moved tables here. After two raggy hands, we pick up ace king on just over 30 big blinds. We get an under the gun raise, under the gun +1. He's got some chips. He's got 5,700 to start the hand. So even though he's raising an early position, doesn't necessarily mean he's got a premium holding here. Could easily be raising hands such as King Jack, King Queen, Queen 10 suited, some suited connectors, small pocket pairs, things like that really. And of course you can't rule out premiums, but then at the same time, we've got a premium ourselves here on just over 30 big blinds. We're looking to really get this in here. So, I'd be very surprised if I did anything other than 3-bet. And that's what I do. I make it 533, which is fine. In position, I like to make it 2.2, 2.25 when sort of clicking it back, so to speak. Later in tournaments, I'll probably adjust my rate sizing a bit, make it maybe smaller. Out of position, if this was, I would make it a bit larger, just so they're not priced into calling as much. But of course, I'm hoping for him to, I'm basically inducing him to shove here or to play back at me. And of course, this should look strong to him. He's an early position raiser. I've got 30 bigs, and I'm 3-betting him here. Plus, the big blind is only on 340 chips, so they are pretty much committed with any hand. So I would be surprised if they didn't come along for the ride here. And they do. They've committed themselves to this. So he's actually getting odds now to call. It's not the best scenario for him because our stack is, we've got just under 30. So, it's not, I wouldn't say he's in the best position. He's out of position against someone who's 3-bet him, and I've taken control of the pot now. But he does decide to flat, building a 1.5k pot. Flop comes Queen 9-3 rainbow. I'm gonna carry on my aggression here. If he checks to me, which he does, I bet 7-11. I think betting smaller here probably does the same trick. Sort of a 6-20, 6-30 sort of bet. The times he does sort of check shove on me, I can get away, maybe save a few chips. But then at the same time, you don't want to keep control of the pot here. As I did 3-bet, an ace high could very well be the best hand. And if he does have a hand such as Jack 10, I want to obviously charge him to hit his draw. He does call. Turn is a king, which is great for us, unless he was actually holding Jack 10. But at this point in time, we're never folding this hand. You know, we've got just over 20 big blinds, less than the pot size now, a bit behind. So shoving here is fine if he does check to us, or sort of betting small to maybe look a bit weak and get him to induce over the top of us is fine as well. I don't think checking is very good here. I think you've got to be playing your hand for max value. You can't be too afraid of sort of hands like King, Queen, and Jack 10. If he had a hand like King, Queen, I mean, maybe he's probably check raising us on that board anyway. So, yes, we do go ahead and bet. I do this sort of small inducey bet, trying to get him to shove over the top of us. Maybe looking back on it, shoving might look a bit weaker because it looks like we're sort of pot committed and we're just jamming in anything that we've got, and then maybe he'll just call us off with like, I don't know, Queen Jack sort of hand, and maybe even a flush draw. But he does go ahead and fold. The other guy has 6 high, so we take the pot. Much needed as well. So now we're up to 5,600. Playing just shy of 50 big blinds now, which is great. Antes in play from the last level, and a 60-120. So we get Queen 10 here, offsuit under the gun. We could certainly open. It does look very strong considering we've just won a big pot. To open here, I do like to sort of ramp up the aggression a bit now. With Antes in play, but I like to just fold and take the conservative route, and maybe just take one off. Excuse me. Next hand, we get pocket 9s in the big blind, which is nice. We get under the gun +1 opening. He started the hand with 1,600 chips. So obviously he's very short. By min raising here, he does look very strong actually. He looks like he wants to induce action like we were doing before with the smallish bet. He looks like he wants someone to come over the top of him, to shove on him. You know, good players here would probably be shoving their whole range. Some bad players do tend to kind of do this because they're like, oh my god, I've got aces. I don't want to shove and just give away value. You know, but I think against good players, you need to be shoving with that sort of stack size that he's got, about 12, 13 big blinds. He does elect to min raise anyway. Small blind flat, which is quite weird because surely he can see this guy's stack here on 1,400 chips. So now I'm faced with the decision of either calling or raising here. I like raising here because the guy under the gun, I would have put him in anyway, if it just folded around to me without the small blind completing, or calling rather, sorry. But by 3-betting here to the small blind, it looked very strong. You know, there's not any flops really. I'm going to be folding to the remainder of this guy's stack. The guy in the small blind is never very strong here when he's flying like this, and I did say, you know, this guy could have aces or kings, but you know, we've got a hand as strong as pocket 9s here. We want to get it in against this short stack under the gun. So I make it 3x, which is fine. We got a raise and a flat. If it was just a raise, I might just make it 2.5x, as I said before. But because this guy's in for the ride as well, I'll decide to make it a bit bigger. This guy flat, which again is very, very weird, and it looks a bit scary. You know, someone with aces and kings who's trying to extract max value would definitely play like this. Small blind gets out of the way. Flop is very, very safe for us, providing he doesn't have aces, kings, or queens. So we obviously can just put him in here. It's not sort of getting fancy here, just trying checking or checking back to see what he does in turn. He's very short. We just want to get it in now against him. He calls. with a pair of threes. So it turns out he was a bad player. Just min raising ace three offsuit there is not a very good play. Um, you know, you're going to get in trouble like this a lot of the time. So I wouldn't advise doing what he just did. He gets it on the turn though, which is not great for us. But we take him out on the river, which is very good. So we get his ships in the end. And again, much needed for us. We're now up to 7,500, which is ample amount at this blind level. And we're cruising at this stage. You know, life is good. We're sort of dominating the table at this point. The chip lead on this table. Oh well, apart from this guy here, we're second in chips on the table. Just looking to really carry on the aggression. Just folding Jack 7 there. Ace 9 offsuit. Okay, this guy opens in mid to late position with just under 20 big blinds. He decides to 4x as well, which is another indication of someone who's not very competent. You know, don't really see any good players doing this at all. Ace 9 is a very good hand to sort of be 3-bet bluffing with, 3-bet trying to take the pot away. You got the ace blocker. We've got position with the button. But at the same time, this guy, you know, he's made a massive raise. So it's not the best spot to be 3-betting here. If it was the guy on his left, Lucky Owl, who decided to min raise, I would certainly consider 3-betting there. Trying to take the pot away from him. Thinking I've got the best hand as well, and position as well. He'll be, you know, hard pressed to call. Out of position versus someone who's got him covered, and wanting to play a big pot. So the guy takes the pot down. Similar spot here really, as I just said. You know, if this guy min raised, you know, potential to 3-bet. 6-9 suited is a good hand to sort of mix it up with, make it like 530, 540 again, as I did with Ace King earlier on. He won't suspect that we've got a hand like 6-9 suited, which plays really well post flop, and it's really disguised if we were to make it that amount. But you know, folding is fine as well. It's a standard play, so go ahead and do that. Also with the stacks behind, you know, if we do 3-bet, there's no one we have to call off. Someone on like 20 bigs or less than 20 bigs. So, you know, it was a good spot to probably do it. And we would have flopped a flush draw as well, which would have been nice. But we are not going to be results oriented because we are not like that. Yeah, I felt I did this. I decided to open here because sort of game flow, like, you know, it's not the worst hand to do it with. There's people behind, like, it looks pretty strong. The big blind's got less than 20 bigs. So he's got to really wake up with something. Although this was the guy that opened to 4x before, so I'm not really sure if he knows what a shove stack is. To these guys behind me, opening in this position here, it's going to look pretty strong to them. So I just decided to pick an open spot here. And get 3-bet as well from the button. This person here, Rosie, she hasn't really played a hand yet, not that I've seen. So, you know, you've got to give her credit here for having some sort of hand on the button. She might just be making a move on me, but then at the same time, it does look pretty strong because the big blind has got less than 20 bigs. So if this person was to shove, you know, Rosie would be priced into calling. So I wouldn't say it's the best spot here to 4-bet. I just kind of give up the hand and I was just trying to play a bit of game flow. But we'll definitely make a note of this sort of sizing here. You know, maybe it's coincidence that was the button, but you know, people like to 3-bet from the button. But as I said, we haven't seen much of Rosie yet, but we'll just make a note of her doing this, and you know, just use it to advantage later on.